When you go vegan, does that automatically mean that you're eating a healthier diet? A lot of people wonder because there's such a thing as a junk food vegan, but overall, how are we doing when we ditch meat and we ditch dairy? My guest today wanted to answer that very question, so she and her team of researchers set out to do so. An incredible new paper has just been published. Our director of clinical research, Dr. Hana Kahleova, is here to share her findings with us on the exam room. Dr. Kahleova, thanks so very much for being here.
Thanks for having me, Chuck.
Really interesting topic. I'm curious about this one because I think as we have seen this explosion of interest in eating a plant-based diet, we've also seen this explosion of products in grocery stores, a lot of which people would say, well, that's not necessarily healthy. So, what did you guys discover in terms of when people go vegan, the effect that has on their diet?
You're exactly right. Many people think, well, a vegan diet is just amazing. But what guarantee do you have when you go vegan that your diet will be healthier? So we looked into the diet quality on a vegan diet, and let's explore what we found. Let me share my screen with you.
Got it right there.
Yeah. So we know that a vegan diet is amazing. It's great for your health, it's great for the animals, and also for the environment. And yet, when we talk about the health aspects, many of the opponents of vegan diets say, well, but wait a minute, we cannot recommend to everyone to go vegan because they will eat a lot of junk food. So, when you go vegan, what guarantee do you have that people will actually eat the healthy diet and not the junk? So this is something we looked into. Uh, how do you even define the diet quality? It turns out that the researchers at Harvard Medical School invented a tool that may be useful, which is called the Alternate Healthy Eating Index, or the AHEI. And they updated the index. So the updated version is from the year 2010. And the idea is just let's give positive points to people for eating healthy foods and negative points for eating unhealthy foods. The healthy foods are the fruits and vegetables and whole grains and legumes and nuts and seeds as sources of healthy fats. And the unhealthy foods in this particular index are the red and processed meats, the sodas, sources of trans fats, although they have been gradually eliminated from our diet, there's still some processed foods that contain them, and also sources of sodium in our diet, such as cheese and olives and potato chips. So these would be the unhealthy foods. And we use this particular index when people go vegan. So we conducted a randomized clinical trial and took 244 overweight adults, and we assigned them randomly to either follow a low-fat vegan diet that consisted of fruits and vegetables and grains and legumes for 16 weeks, or the other half of the participants stayed on their usual diet for 16 weeks. And now we measured the diet quality using the alternate healthy eating index that I just described. And what did we find out? What happened to people who went vegan? What happened to their diet quality? It turns out that the diet quality significantly improved on the vegan diet by 7 points, which was more than 10%. And this is good news, right? The junk food was not necessarily forbidden on the vegan diet. We were encouraging them to eat to make the healthy options, but they were still allowed to eat sugar, for example, and eat processed foods, and yet without any attempts to improve their diet quality, the diet quality actually improved. This improvement in diet quality was also associated with their weight loss, their improvement in body composition, because they were losing most of their weight loss was due to fat loss. And also improvements in insulin sensitivity. So the improvement in diet quality had really implications for their cardiometabolic health and their weight management. Now, the second question is, when people switch to a vegan diet, when they start eating fruits and vegetables and whole grains and legumes, what out of these foods will tip the scales the most? That means, which of the foods are most important for weight loss? Is it the foods that you don't eat, that are the animal foods on a vegan diet, or is it the foods that you actually eat on a vegan diet? Which foods are the most important ones? And we found out there were two main predictors of weight loss on a vegan diet. While all of the foods are excellent that you eat on a vegan diet, fruits and grains and legumes and vegetables, all of them are great. But some of them seem to be more important for weight loss than others. So the number one predictor of weight loss was not eating any meat. No meat, no poultry, no fish. That was the number one predictor of weight loss. And the second most important predictor of weight loss was eating your beans and lentils and peas and all the legumes. So both are important, not only not eating the meat and the junk, but also eating the healthy stuff, particularly when it comes to beans that are a superfood based on our research study findings.
That's a really interesting finding here, and I'm glad that you did this study. A couple of quick follow-up questions for you. Number one, away, I noticed that fruit juices were considered to be
Mm.
unhealthy. Um, a lot of people would say, "Well, orange juice, I drink that every morning with my breakfast. That's healthy, right?" Why are fruit juices categorized as unhealthy for the purposes of this study?
That's a great question. For this particular index, the researchers decided to group fruit juice among the unhealthy foods, but we can definitely have a discussion. When you squeeze out your orange juice in the morning, it's much different from sugary drink that has only 12% of orange juice. So you need to be distinguishing between these. But generally speaking, there is a controversy. Another aspect to consider is that, let's say, you want to eat one glass of orange juice every single morning. One aspect to consider is that many people tend to overdo it with the orange juice. First of all, they don't usually drink the orange juice that's freshly squeezed. They buy it, in a Tetra Pak, and that way the nutrient content and also the fiber content is not so great. You usually most of the fruit juices that you can buy in a grocery store are devoid of fiber, and yet you can find some brands that include the pulp, so those would include the fiber and would be healthier options. So there's a variety among the fruit juice products. The best ones would be the ones that you make at home, freshly squeezed, or even a smoothie where you put whole fruit and don't get rid of the fiber.
And I want to ask you more about the guidance that you gave the study participants here. You said that you encouraged them to eat a healthier diet, as healthy as possible, but you didn't strictly forbid, I guess, indulgent type of foods, shall we say. So what exactly did that guidance look like? I'm assuming because there was that freedom, there weren't specific menus, but what exactly did that look like?
That's exactly right. We gave them only two basic rules. Number one, eat only vegan foods. No animal foods, no meat, no dairy, no cheese, no eggs. Stick to the vegan foods. And we emphasize the power plate. That means the fruits and vegetables and whole grains and legumes as the guidance. So that's rule number one. Rule number two is keep your fat content really low, up to 30 grams of fat per day. And when you're going to a fresh produce section, that doesn't mean much. You can just pick any fruits and vegetables that you like. You just need to be careful about the avocados and about the nuts. But when it comes to processed foods, when it's in a can or in the frozen section, you need to check the fat content and make sure that in one portion there is no more than 3 grams of fat. And when you add the fat content up, it would be up to 30 grams per day. So these are the two basic rules: only vegan foods and keep the diet low fat. And note that we didn't say don't eat any sugar and don't eat any sodium, don't put any salt on your popcorn. No, we didn't say that at all. So, desserts were still in on this diet. Popcorn was in. And we can discuss, like, were these, completely healthy options, or was it a compromise? Well, who knows? But also, who cares? Because their diet quality improved significantly, even without forbidding them any of these foods.
Yeah, I'm sure that the study participants, if they weren't already plant based, they didn't really know what it truly meant to go vegan. If you leave those foods on the table, I'm sure that they were breathing, whoo, that sigh of relief. Did you also, though, give them specific recipes or at least recipe ideas that they may want to consider? Or was it really, these are your only two restrictions flat out, and you're on your own to figure out what it is that you're going to eat?
We gave them some guidance and some recipes. You can find plenty of recipes on our PCRM website. So those are the recipes that we were recommending. Uh, Also, when those of you who are interested in the weight loss, the book that we used for this particular program was Dr. Barnard's 21-day vegan kickstart, the weight loss kickstart. So that's a book that will kind of guide you through what's important in weight loss, and give you some recipe ideas.
And I want to ask you about the two big predictors for weight loss. You said it was taking meat out of your diet and replacing that essentially with beans.
Yeah.
So beans are good, meat is bad in terms of weight loss. Um, for the meat specifically, is that just because a lot of times it's so filled with fat, it's so filled with cholesterols, it's calorically dense that naturally when somebody takes that out of their diet, they're going to see some improvement on the scale?
That's exactly right, Chuck. We see the same thing, for example, for the risk of diabetes. When you're supposed to pick just one food that would increase the risk of diabetes the most, it's not sugar, it's meat. It's processed and red meat. And we see the same for weight management. Taking meat out of your diet is just the single one most important predictor of weight loss.
Red and processed meat, are they the bigger villains here than other meats as
Yeah,
well?
that's correct.
Yeah.
The other animal foods were also associated. taking out the other animal foods also improved the weight management. But the what tipped the scales the most was taking meat out of the diet.
I'm surprised that cheese didn't make the list. Did you guys get an opportunity to crunch those numbers? Because I mean, cheese is just about as calorically dense as it gets.
Yeah, exactly. We analyzed dairy in general, low fat dairy and full fat dairy. We were not able to analyze cheese specifically. And you're completely right. If we were able to make that distinction, most probably cheese would make the list also.
And just housekeeping here in terms of beans. Is it because it's kind of the exact opposite of meat, whereas meat has a lot of fat, a lot of calories, but zero fiber? Beans have a lot of fiber, but not a lot of fat, not nearly as many calories.
That's right. And why were beans, the single one predictor on a vegan diet, in terms of the foods that people were eating? Well, probably it's because of the low consumption of beans to start with. While we should be consuming at least half a cup of beans every single day, most people don't eat that amount even in a month. So the low consumption at start, at the outset of the study, probably made the biggest difference on a vegan diet when people started incorporating the beans in their diet.
Did I mean the whole you just said most people don't eat a half a cup of
Right.
beans in an entire month?
Yeah.
That is amazing. I mean, not in a good way amazing, but amazing nonetheless.
Yeah, exactly. People just are not used to eating their beans. Many people uh, get some discomfort after eating beans, so they're like, you know what, this is not my most favorite food, and yeah, this is just an overlooked quality item that people don't think of many times when they look at their diet.
Yeah, man, it's just when people go plant-based, they start introducing all of these healthier foods into their diet. The microbiome down there kind of does somersaults, and so that's where that discomfort comes from, as I understand it.
Yeah.
But eventually things settle down, everything gets back on kilter, as it were, and you're able to handle those mega doses of fiber, eating that much healthier diet. So if you can just get over that 2 week hump or so, you're going to be in much, much, much better shape there.
Yeah.
Did people report having less discomfort as the study went on?
Absolutely. Sometimes some people can just jump in and increase their bean intake immediately, and no discomfort at all. Some people may have some gassiness or other gastrointestinal symptoms, and it may take a few weeks to fully adjust to the new diet. But eventually, all these symptoms go away, and people are feeling great.
And last question I have for you: what was the age range for these participants?
That's an important question. These were people in their 60s, in their 50s and 60s. Yeah, exactly.
Talk about
These were,
burying the lead. Wow.
yeah, these were not college kids that were eager to make a change in their diet. These were people who, uh, gained some weight over time, and they were like, you know what? I don't want to continue like this. Would a vegan diet be helpful? Could it make a difference in my case? I mean, I've tried several diets by now, and I usually regained even more than what I lost. So, is there something a vegan diet could do for me? So, this is the kind of people that we recruited for the study.
Man, I bet they were super grateful after this one was over, were they not? I mean, my goodness. I mean,
Absolutely.
it
Yeah.
just goes to show, it's never too late. I always worry that, people over the age of 40 kind of throw in the towel. They think,
Mhm.
metabolism is shot. There's just no way that my body could ever get back on a healthier track. So I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. But here you have people in their 50s and their 60s having all of this success. On the show, many episodes, we've talked about,
Mm.
people in their 70s, their 80s, even a 90 some odd year old woman who went vegan and was suddenly able to walk a couple of miles a day. I
Yeah.
mean, like, it's just incredible how sensitive our bodies can be in terms of the fuel that we put in it. So if you put that healthier fuel in, I mean, some really remarkable things can happen. And in this case, you're talking about your diet quality pretty much automatically improving and the numbers on the scale coming down in a much healthier direction. So, very important findings, Dr. Kahleova. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
If your health IQ was a couple of points higher than it was a few minutes ago, go ahead and like this video or subscribe to the YouTube channel. And to take it even higher, head over to Apple Podcast or wherever you get your favorite shows. Look for The Exam Room by the Physicians Committee. Hit the subscribe button there as well and help to make your world a healthier place.